Welcome, Lauren. Thank you so much for hopping on a call with me. I have been really excited about this call for weeks now, and I'm glad we could finally connect. This is part of our show called the Amplify REI show, where we are learning from awesome investors like yourself who are just kicking butt and taking names and closing deals left and right. So thank you so much for hopping on this call with me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here with you guys. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
So let's just jump straight into it. I want to hear about the first deal you ever did as a real estate investor, and what really caused you to jump all in and as far as going in as a real estate investor in this industry.
So what really got me started was when I was actually working a 9-to-5 back in 2018 to 2019, just getting to the point of thinking through, what I wanted to do long term. I'd been there just for 2 years, or planned to be there for 2 years while I finished school. But it was still in the back of my mind of, at the time, I wanted to be a physical therapist, of how long I wanted to just continue to be in that quote unquote rat race, for how long I might do that. And just thinking about how I wanted a life of freedom for myself, and just how the CEO of that company that I worked for, how he lived his lifestyle. And I was like, you know what? While we're helping dentists to create the life of their dreams, in my mind, I'm like, this is the life of my dreams.
Yeah.
And so
For sure.
Was kind of just figuring out how I could make that happen for myself. Happened to, in the middle of my frustration, wanting to look for that next big thing for me to do, kind of just for my forever plan, heard this radio ad from a company called Fortune Builders about how you can get started in real estate with no money and no credit. And I was like, I want to know about what the heck they're talking about. And I was 22 at the time. I signed up for their free event, their free 2-hour seminar that they had in Atlanta, gathered all the information that I could get. And then from there, I signed up for, I think at the time I had like my last like $400 in my account, and I used $200 to sign up for their 3-day event, and learned everything that I could. But from the day that I went to that 2-hour event and then went to the 3-day event, there was like 1 month of waiting time. And I was so antsy to just get started that I went crazy with YouTube University, listening to podcasts between Wholesaling Inc., between Bigger Pockets, learning from all the wholesalers, a lot of the different wholesalers in the game, like Max Maxwell, Tony the Closer, so many other ones, and just kind of follow that path. So I kid you not, by the time I got to the event, I had a list of 200 buyers. I'd already registered my business. I had my business cards. Like, I went in with a plan so that I could leave and sit down with somebody to talk about the marketing that I needed to start. So from there, I just needed help with marketing. So I got everything up and running within a month. And I was that motivated to figure it out and to just go all in. And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And once I sat down, and that really gave me the mindset shift. But once I was able to sit down with somebody from Fortune Builders, they had actually advised me to start with mail marketing. That didn't work too well. I didn't really have much of a budget at the time. But the day that we actually kind of got everything rolling, it was a mutual agreement for me to leave my job. So I kind of went in also with no real marketing budget. So it truly was just me being really creative and figuring it out. So as I got to my first deal, I actually got it through, I drove for dollars. So I drove in the neighborhood looking for distressed properties, actually in the Jonesboro area. And I used that campaign and put it in a text blast campaign through Text Magic. And this seller, I finally got somebody that said yes. Like, it's one great way to weed out a lot of people that say no, but I finally got a yes. And it was somebody, she wasn't too adamant about speaking on the phone. I was like, I'm fine with that. And but she's an investor. She had a couple other rental properties. She had sold the rest of them, and she wanted to sell that last property so that she could move to Florida. And she's like, literally, once I sell this, the closing date, I'm moving to Florida, getting in the car. And was just ready like that. And so I was texting her, just asking information about the condition. And she was like, you know what, just go ahead and come by. Like, she was just straightforward, and was just like, no, come by. This is my price. It was $95,000. I think the ARV might've been like 130, 150, somewhere in there. But the house had a brand new roof. It had just been repaired. I did have an inspector come out there with me, and with it being my first time, he gave me a free assessment. And there was like, he said, if you wanted to come and do any work to this house, you might need to put $5,000, and that's it. I was like, okay, nothing too bad, nothing crazy. And so I was like, I think I can, make it work, especially being the biggest thing. There's no major repairs or anything that need to get done. So from there, I emailed her through DocuSign of a purchase and sale agreement. She signed it right away. And I emailed it to the buyers that I had. And then I was also plugged in on some of the different investor groups on Facebook. And I just marketed the property without the address. I think I also marketed this one on Craigslist. And I ended up finding a realtor on Facebook that was interested. So she had a buyer that was ready to go. So I kid you not, we were able to close that within 3 weeks. And I made my first $5,000. Yeah, off of that deal. Well, we did a 50-50 split. So $2,500 is what I walked away with from that first deal. And it was, that was it. My jump start to just continue to go. And that was my proof of concept of, wow, this really works. Okay, I got to keep going. I got to, just continue to keep my pipeline full. And things didn't really happen as planned, but I stayed the course. And so at this point, I've been a wholesaler for March 4th of this past year was 2 years. It's been 2 years that I've been wholesaling now. So yeah, this is the only thing I've done so far in real estate. I plan to continue to build my wholesaling business, but the next step is getting into Airbnbs and rental properties.
Nice. Well, congratulations. That's super exciting. The 2 years I'm sure have been full of lots of ups and lots of downs. Really on that entrepreneurial journey of trying to build your own business, find some consistency.
Absolutely.
I just want to commend you because that takes courage, that takes bravery, and it takes some serious grit, which I can tell you definitely have. Is between that month between your seminars, a lot of people would have just sat around and waited and just kind of went about business. But you obviously had the hunger inside of you to just like, man, I got to figure this out. And clearly you had the energy and the fortitude to do so. So I commend you for that. Why real estate investing then? So what really is it working with people? Is it the possible freedom it can provide? Do you just really like real estate? What really was like, man, this is what I want to do in real estate investing?
So really all of the above. So growing up, I always found it fascinating watching, of course, the HGTV shows. I've always loved the process of watching a home come from an ugly duckling to a beautiful swan. And my dad honestly was somebody that would always put the bug in my ear about, how much freedom it could create for your life. He would always put the bug in my ear about, don't allow yourself to get too comfortable because you want to be able to travel. Like one of my dreams is to be able to travel the world and kind of do things on my own time, being able to spend time with my family. So it is the lifetime and financial freedom, all three in one. From probably the age of 7, 8 years old, I would love going with my mom to look at different model homes. And I would actually come back home and rewrite the blueprint of the house and reconfigure how to put all the furniture in the homes. And so not very difficult for a little kid, but I've always just had a fascination for looking at houses, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a townhouse, a duplex, whatever. I love looking at houses and just truly the fun that it can be in real estate, the people that you can meet, the networking, the way that you can help people, especially through wholesaling in a non-traditional way, is honestly brought so much happiness to me, literally being able to sit down with sellers and have them, literally open up their whole heart and their life up to me in tears about whatever's going on. And I'm like little old me, coming in with a solution, but it's something that otherwise wouldn't be available to them. And so really all in one, just something that I knew would always be a part of my life, but I honestly didn't think it'd be possible until I was in my 40s or 50s. Yeah. Unless I became a realtor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really exciting. I mean, I don't think there's that many people out there at such a young age with such an interest in real estate and design and stuff like that. So I'm glad you've kind of learned that about yourself. You had the self-awareness to be like, man, this is something I'm really, really into and I want to kind of dive all in. So that's exciting. I'm glad you have found what you want to do. And from here, the sky's the limit, right? There's so much opportunity for growth and the market's going to continue to shift and change. And there's always opportunity. So it's a really exciting time to continue to grow a business. But let's kind of jump forward. Let's talk about the most recent deal you've done. And then I'd love to hear just briefly, how your experience has been working with Amplify.
So the most recent deal I've done, it was actually my first townhome that I was able to wholesale. And I got the lead, of course, to Amplify my business. Ramona, the lead assistant that you guys set me up with, add the phone call to my calendar. And the house was just under one gentleman's name. But basically, once I got on the phone with him, he just explained to me that he had a really bad experience with a tenant that, of course, all throughout COVID-19, they weren't paying. So they had already been behind on their payments, but of course he couldn't evict them either. And so he said that they kind of, they just had to leave it alone until that something could really come up and, they figured something out. And then unfortunately, his father-in-law passed away late last year in the middle of it all. And so there was a time where they kind of just left it alone. And then he said he came across the Facebook ad. And so he filled out the form so that he could go ahead and get an offer and see, what we could provide for him. And so then I kid you not, he literally, what was it? He said, all I want from the property is the mortgage. I don't care to walk away with anything out of this house. I need the mortgage. This has honestly been a headache. I just want to be done with it. And literally, by the grace of God, he was able to get the tenant out only because there was another personal issue that they had where they ended up getting arrested. And so the house is clear. The house is clear. So he was like, yeah, I'm literally ready to go ahead and sign right away. So I got it under contract at $90,000. And typically I'll lock up the property before I go and see it. And then if I need to make any deductions because of repairs, I will, only because I've lost out on a couple contracts waiting to go on an appointment. So I've just learned to lock them up and get everything else later. So we locked it up. He signed the contract within 5 minutes. Like nice. He was ready to go. He was ready to go.
He was like, I want this thing out of here.
Exactly. He's like, I'm ready to get this done. And we were able to meet, I think like 2 days later out in Lawrenceville. I met him at the property. And he was just letting me know that they had left it in a complete mess. And he was like, he'd been trying to clean it up for me to come because you couldn't even walk in the property. They left all of their furniture. They left it trashed. There was some big piece on like the front wall that looked like they had either burned it or there was a bunch of water condensation that built and basically all the paint was peeling. It was like the bathrooms were a mess. Everything was destroyed. The back deck, they decided to take it down out of the townhome neighborhood. Yeah, it was a lot going on. And there was a bunch of random stuff. It was actually funny. While I was at the appointment, somebody from the neighborhood came around and was like, I love buying, random junk and stuff like that. I was wondering if there's anything that they left behind. And he came in and grabbed like a stroller and a broken keyboard. We were like, okay. Like it was so weird, but it worked. We were just like, whatever. But he was like, yeah. I was like, from here, honestly, we're good to go. I just needed to go ahead and take the pictures and get them to my partner, which is my buyer. And for him, after I sent him the pictures, he was like, he sent me the contract right away. He was like, yeah, let's go on it. I'll go ahead and have my inspector look. And we were able to get that closed in 2 weeks. And I made $5,000 on that deal.
Hey, look at that. Man, that's exciting. Bada bing, bada boom. Like you get the lead, you call them, set up an appointment. And 2 weeks later, you're making money. That is awesome.
That was the easiest deal to date. So that was one of my favorite people to work with because he was just so ready to go, get it going. His wife was so easygoing, and we were able to get him help, get him out the property. I got paid. Everybody's happy.
There you go, man. That's exciting. Well, congrats on the close. We love hearing about those success stories. So how's your experience been with Amplify kind of up to this point?
Honestly, I would say that it has been an amazing experience. I really have no complaints. There has been this beautiful system that you guys set up that makes it so easy for me, where it just takes out the guesswork. I know exactly which leads I need to go to be able to, listen to the call based on what my assistant Ramona will go ahead and say, hey, I've added a call to your calendar. I'll go ahead and send you the information. It's like, boom, I can go in instantly, listen to the recording and see what they've been able to say. And that helps me so much so that when I get on the phone, it's just such a smooth process. So I can say, okay, this is what's going on. This is when you're looking to move. This is, kind of what you're looking for. Well, this is what we can provide. And so being able to have leads coming in without me having to necessarily go out and scout for the work for it, it just brings me so much peace of mind. It's been a great piece of my business that I desperately needed. And so being able to scale with you guys, I was so happy that I came across the ad just at the right time to just go ahead and get signed up. But as soon as, even from the initial call, once everything was broken down to me, I was like, this is something that I desperately need right now to be able to grow so that I'm not having to do everything on my own, since it was just me making cold calls every single day. And so I've had, honestly, a great experience up to this point. I've been making tons of recommendations to people that ask, not afraid of too much competition. I'd, love to see what ways that we can honestly work together. I'm always open to doing JV deals, especially in that aspect with other investors. But all around, extremely great experience. You guys are all great to work with. Any questions I have, they are answered right away. So yeah, all great all around.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. We have loved working with you as well. And it's just been exciting to watch your success and hopefully many more deals to close in the near future. I know you have kind of a few, you've been working a few under contract. So that's really exciting. So one last question for you, Lauren. If you were to, go back 2 years ago, even to a brand new investor like you were yourself, what advice would you give that brand new investor?
I would say, one, pick 2 or 3 marketing streams and just stay extremely consistent. If you want to put a time frame on it, give it at least 90 days, basically 3 to 6 months to actually see it through and see if it works. Because for me, learning from personal experience, trying so many different marketing streams, I didn't give any of them enough time to really flourish and see if I could get get actually a deal from it. So one from there, picking a few marketing streams, consistency. And the other thing, really, the money is in the follow-up. If you're not following up, honestly, you're not going to be getting very many deals because, we can continue to get so many new leads, but there's so many people that need that nurturing. And so it's you get to the point where, okay, you are consistent with your deals based on the marketing that you're doing, and you're able to get a couple of deals. If you're not wanting to have a one-man team and wear all the basically 10 hats all at once, go and get help, hire a company like Amplify My Business that can help you to scale and help you to be able to reach your next goal wherever that may be, and really just to stay true to the process. And that's it.
Wow. Awesome, man. That's one of the best things I've ever heard doing these interviews, because you have the wisdom to say, don't quit on a marketing stream unless you're at least 90 days, 180 days in, because you don't really know, so much of it is building a pipeline. And we really do preach that here, not because it protects us by any means, because it's just the fact of doing marketing. We see it on our own business. We see it with all of our clients' businesses, and it is just so true. And then the money is totally in the follow-up. And I'm glad that the lead manager, Ramona, I think is the one that works with you, has just been such an asset to your business. So, man, thank you so much, Lauren. It has been a very enjoyable experience having a phone call with you today. We look forward to seeing many more deals closed in the near future. And if there's anything we can ever do to support you, please let us know.
Absolutely, man. You guys are awesome. And I'm looking forward to continuing to close more deals with you. So thank you so much.